Hi friends, welcome back. So for today's read aloud, I have a story that's actually very special to me. This was always one of my favorites growing up. This is Lambert, the Sheepish Lion. Mr. Stork was having a busy night. He had to deliver bundles of babies to all kinds of places. As he flew over the trees, Mr. Stork was glad he had just one bundle left. Early in the morning, Mr. Stork came at last to a sheep meadow. The sheep were still asleep. This must be the place, thought Mr. Stork. The address on the bundle said, "Baby lambs, deliver to sheep meadow." Mr. Stork flipped his wings up and swooped down. He made a perfect landing. 6 mother sheep were waiting in a row. Out of the sack tumbled 5 baby lambs. "Here is your home," Mr. Stork told them. "Just pick out the sheep you like best," said Mr. Stork. "She will be your mother." Soon each little lamb had found a warm, woolly mother. But there was one mother sheep who had no little lamb. A tear fell from her eye. "Oh dear," said Mr. Stork. "I thought I had enough lambs to go around." He picked up the sack and shook it. Out tumbled one more baby. "You don't look like a lamb," said the stork. He took out his spectacles and checked his order book. "Why, you must be Lambert, the lion cub," he said. But by then, Lambert had found the lonely mother sheep. Lambert snuggled up beside her. She did not look lonely anymore. "Excuse me, Mrs. Sheep," said Mr. Stork. "There is a mistake. That is a lion cub. I will just take him away. He'll not bother you again." Mrs. Sheep was furious. Lambert was her baby. No one was going to take him away. Mrs. Sheep rammed her big head, pow, right into Mr. Stork. Mr. Stork flew into the air, spectacles and all. That was enough for him. He got out of that sheep meadow just as fast as he could flap his wings. "Silly old stork," said Mrs. Sheep, as she licked Lambert's little mane. Lambert purred like a kitten. The other mothers were licking their babies too. "Now run and play," said Mrs. Sheep, and off went Lambert. Lambert watched the lambs playing on the grass. They were having fun. They jumped and leaped about on stiff, wobbly legs. "Ma, ma," they said. Lambert opened his mouth to say "ba." He wanted to play too. But all that came out was a great, big meow. The lambs thought that meow was a very funny sound for a lamb to make. They laughed and laughed at Lambert. "How silly he looks," said one lamb. "His feet are too big. His tail is too long," said another. Poor Lambert. He felt very sad. His feet were too big. His tail was too long. He was the silliest looking lamb in the meadow. Lambert's mother came to comfort him. "Never mind, dear," she said. "Just play with the lambs and do what they do. You will grow up to be a fine sheep." Lambert felt much better. He went off to play. But every time Lambert tried to leap like a lamb, he tripped over his big feet and landed on his head. And every time he tried to butt heads with another lamb, the lamb would ram, pow, into him. After a while, Lambert had a very sore head. "Never mind, dear," said his mother. "You are growing faster than all the others." Lambert was growing fast. Every day he was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But as Lambert grew bigger, he grew more and more sheepish. He never acted angry when the young sheep laughed at him. Lambert just grinned his sheepish grin and pretended not to care. But Lambert did care. He was tired of being butted. He was tired of looking silly. Most of all, he was tired of being different. One night, while all the sheep were sleeping, Lambert woke up. He pricked up his ears. A wolf was creeping slowly toward the sheep meadow. It was growling a mean, hungry growl. The wolf was coming to get the sheep. Lambert was terrified. Lambert hid behind his mother. He did not feel brave enough to fight that wolf. But the sheep were not brave either. They were as sheepish as sheep could be. When they heard the wolf coming, all the sheep ran into the woods. They hid behind the trees. Lambert was surprised. Even his mother, who had butted Mr. Stork, was trembling now. Suddenly, something went snap inside Lambert's head. He forgot how sheepish he had become. He forgot that he was afraid. He even forgot to try to say "bah." He opened his mouth and roared. Then he dashed after that wolf. But Lambert did not forget everything he had learned in the sheep meadow. He rammed his big head, pow, right into the wolf. The wolf went flying over the edge of a cliff. In all his sheep hunting days, the wolf had never before seen a lion. But one lion was enough for him. The wolf never bothered the sheep again. All the sheep gathered around Lambert. They were not laughing at him now. Lambert was a great hero. "My Lambert is a mighty lion," said Mrs. Sheep. "Did you hear him roar?" Lambert purred happily, but it was a mighty purr, a lion's purr. I like that story. It sort of reminds me of The Ugly Duckling, where someone didn't fit in, and then it turned out that everyone loved him at the end, because they realized that just because he's different doesn't mean he's not part of the family. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that story, and practice your 5 fingers of retell. Character, setting, beginning, middle, end. I'll see you next time. Bye. So, these are some fun little cookies that you can make if you want to. All it is just an Oreo cookie and then some cut up candies and some sprinkles and some icing. First thing you need to do, of course, is have an Oreo cookie. This is just a basic one, but we also got the double stuff. And then the icing is a little bit more wet than normal, so that you can kind of dip in it and it'll leave a nice smooth surface. Once you have that, you're just going to go ahead and get your little pieces of candy to stick on there like wings. We cut up some sour candies for these. And then we took a piping bag with a little bit of black icing, and we're going to put 2 little spots where we're going to hook on the eyeballs. That way it just holds it in place. We use 2 big round sprinkles for that. And then, so we can see where the eyes are actually at, we're going to put 2 little black dots. Last thing we put is some little black dots on the back because this is supposed to be a ladybug. And there you have it, a little Oreo cookie insect. We also made some funny orange ones with the kids. I'm not sure why they have 3 wings,